In a small village in Nigeria, there lived a beautiful woman named Ada. Ada had long, shiny black hair and big, bright eyes. She was married to a man named Chinedu. For 10 years, Ada loved Chinedu very much. She cooked for him, cleaned the house, and took care of him. Chinedu was a strong man with kind eyes. He always smiled and made Ada laugh. One day, Ada started to feel that something was wrong. Chinedu came home late every night. He smelled like perfume, but it was not Ada's perfume. He did not talk to Ada like before. Ada felt very sad and lonely. She wondered what was happening to Chinedu. One night, Ada could not sleep. She heard Chinedu talking on the phone. He was whispering and laughing softly. Ada's heart beat fast. She got up from the bed and quietly walked to the door. She listened closely. Chinedu said, "Yes, I will see you tomorrow, my sweet Ngozi." Ada was shocked. Ngozi was the young girl who lived in their compound. Ada's heart broke into many pieces. She went back to the bed and cried silently. She felt like someone had stolen her happiness. She loved Chinedu so much, but now he was with Ngozi. Ada did not know what to do. She felt hot and angry. The next day, Ada watched Chinedu carefully. He smiled and laughed, but not with her. He seemed happy, but Ada knew his secrets. She felt a heavy weight in her chest. Ada could not eat or sleep. She thought about Chinedu and Ngozi all the time. One night, Ada had a terrible idea. She wanted to punish Chinedu for hurting her. She wanted him to feel the same pain she felt. Ada waited until Chinedu was asleep. She took a big heavy shovel and went outside. The moon was bright and the night was quiet. Ada walked to the backyard and started digging a hole. Ada dug and dug until the hole was deep. She was very tired, but she did not stop. She went back to the house and looked at Chinedu. He was sleeping peacefully, not knowing what Ada was planning. Ada felt tears in her eyes, but she wiped them away. She had to do this. Ada took a rope and tied Chinedu's hands and feet. She covered his mouth with a cloth so he could not scream. Chinedu woke up and saw Ada. His eyes were wide with fear. He tried to talk, but he could not. Ada whispered, "This is for hurting me, Chinedu." Ada dragged Chinedu to the backyard. He struggled, but Ada was strong. She pushed him into the hole and started covering him with dirt. Chinedu's eyes were full of terror. Ada's heart was beating fast, but she did not stop. She buried Chinedu alive, layer by layer. She could hear his muffled cries, but she kept going. When the hole was filled, Ada sat down and cried. She felt a strange mix of relief and sorrow. She had punished Chinedu, but now she was alone. The night was dark and the moon was hidden behind the clouds. Ada's heart was heavy with sadness. Days passed and people in the village started to wonder where Chinedu was. Ada told them he had gone on a trip. She tried to smile, but inside she felt empty. Ngozi stopped coming to their compound. She looked scared and sad. Ada knew why. Ada's nights were filled with nightmares. She saw Chinedu's face, his eyes wide with fear. She heard his muffled cries in her dreams. Ada could not sleep. She felt haunted by what she had done. The house was quiet and lonely. Ada missed Chinedu, but it was too late. She had buried him alive. One night, Ada heard a strange noise outside. She got up and looked through the window. The backyard was dark, but she saw something moving. Ada's heart beat fast. She went outside with a torch. The wind was cold and the night was silent. Ada walked to the spot where she had buried Chinedu. She saw the ground was disturbed. Her heart pounded in her chest. She knelt down and started digging with her hands. The dirt was cold and heavy. Ada dug and dug until she saw a piece of cloth. It was Chinedu's shirt. Ada's hands trembled. She uncovered more dirt and saw Chinedu's face. His eyes were closed and he was not breathing. Ada's heart ached with guilt and sorrow. She had killed Chinedu. She cried and cried, but it was too late. The villagers noticed that Ada was not the same. She was quiet and sad. They asked her what was wrong, but Ada did not tell them. She kept her terrible secrets hidden. Ada lived with the pain and guilt every day. She wished she could turn back time, but she could not. Ada's life was filled with darkness and regrets. She had buried her husband alive, and now she had to live with the consequences. The nights were long and lonely, and the days were filled with sorrow. Ada's heart was broken, and it could never be mended. In the village, people still talked about Chinedu's disappearance. They wondered what had happened to him, but only Ada knew the truth. She carried the heavy burden of her secrets, knowing that she could never escape the darkness that had taken over her life. One rainy day, Ada heard a knock on the door. She opened it and saw Ngozi standing there, drenched and shivering. Ngozi looked at Ada with sad eyes and said, "I knew what you did." Ada's heart stopped. She felt a chill run down her spine. Ngozi continued, "I saw everything that night. I saw you bury Chinedu." Ada's hands trembled. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Ngozi stepped inside and closed the door. She looked at Ada with a mix of pity and anger. "Why did you do it, Ada?" she asked. Ada fell to her knees and cried. She could not answer. The weight of her actions was too much to bear. Ngozi knelt down beside Ada and whispered, "You must live with this pain forever. You took him away from me, and now you must suffer." Ada's tears mixed with the rainwater on the floor. She felt a deep, unending sorrow. The darkness inside her grew, and she knew that her life would never be the same again. The nights were filled with haunting dreams, and the days were empty and cold. Ada's heart was heavy with regrets, and she knew that she could never escape the shadows of her past. As the years went by, Ada became a ghost of her former self. The beautiful woman who once filled the village with laughter and joy was now a shadow, haunted by her own actions. The villagers whispered about her, wondering what had happened to the lively, loving Ada they once knew. But no one could understand the depth of her pain. Ngozi too carried the burden of that fateful night. She watched Ada from afar, her own heart filled with a mist of sorrow and resentment. She had loved Chinedu, but now he was gone, and all that remained was a bitter memory. The village moved on, but the scars of that night remained with Ada and Ngozi, a silent bond of shared sorrow. In the quiet of the night, Ada would sometimes visit the spots where she had buried Chinedu. She would sit there, talking to him, hoping for some sense of peace. But the nights were cold and the silence was unbearable. Ada's heart ached with a pain that never went away. As Ada sat by Chinedu's grave one night, she felt a deep sadness in her heart. She whispered, "I am sorry, Chinedu." The wind blew softly and the night was very quiet. Ada knew she had done a terrible thing. She had buried Chinedu because he hurt her, but now Ada was hurting even more. She learned that doing bad things only makes things worse. One day, a wise old woman named Mama Uchi came to visit Ada. Mama Uchi had kind eyes and a gentle smile. She sat with Ada and listened to her story. Ada cried and told Mama Uchi everything. Mama Uchi said, "Ada, my child, hurting others will never make you happy. We must always try to forgive and find peace in our hearts." Ada nodded and wiped her tears. She understood now. She had made a big mistake. She had let anger take over her heart. Ada decided to be better. She wanted to live a good life and help others. The story of Ada and Chinedu serves as a dark reminder of the consequences of betrayal and the depths of human despair. It is a tale of love turned sour, of trust broken, and of a life consumed by regrets. Ada's actions, driven by pain and anger, led her down a path of no return, and she was left to wander in the darkness of her own making. The moral of this story is, when we are hurt, we should try not to hurt others. Instead, we should forgive and find peace. Anger and revenge only bring more sadness. Love and kindness are the true path to happiness. Ada's heart was still heavy, but she started to feel a small light inside her. She knew it would be hard, but she wanted to change. She wanted to be kind and loving, just like Mama Uchi said. And so, Ada began a new journey, one of healing and hope. Another interesting story is dropping soon. Subscribe to this channel for you not to miss out.